So one of the things that I do with every one of our leaders who comes into leading high-performing cultures is the exploration of something called the resilience why. Now, Forged is a great magazine, and I'm really excited that we've just released it, and I hope that it's successful, and I hope that you enjoy it. But I also wanted to give you some insight into some of the things that we do with our leaders, and you'll notice in the magazine that there's a section where we highlight the leaders who are in the current cohort, and for every leader, we list that person's why. I wanted to give you some context behind that why statement. We call it a resilience why. Now, Simon Sinek is fantastic in his explanation of why leaders eat last and why you should always start with why, particularly when you're thinking about it in terms of like a corporate positioning or branding statement. But what I've discovered working with mission-critical leaders is that the why is way more than a simple branding statement. What I found is it's actually a reflection of the lessons learned when someone has gone through an incredible amount of adversity. I will say that something that our leaders definitely share in common is the fact that they have experienced tremendous adversity when they were younger and even as adults. And you know, as most of us do, we don't really focus on it. We go through it, then we move on, and we kind of just take the next step. But we really should be examining not the actual adversity, but the lessons that we learned as a result of the adversity. Because every single time we go through something that's tremendous or tremendously difficult, we learn things and it changes who we are. And if we're paying attention, it changes us for the better. And so it's those changing us for the better things that we tend to gloss over or don't even realize at all until someone helps point them out. So we go through this experience, and it's called, it is a why discovery experience, and I just open the door up for our leaders to share, what has your life been like? Just walk me through it. We start when they're very young, they tell me stories about their parents and their siblings, and then they just start to discuss the things that really resonate, the things that they've never forgotten about their childhood, about their youth, about their young adulthood. And what we find is there's a lot of adversity in that. They've experienced things that have definitely left a mark. And we don't dig into the negativity of that aspect. We just look at it through this lens of, okay, so you went through this. You lost a really great friend, or your dad passed away, or you responded to your very first call and it was a suicide of someone you went to high school with. And then we actually talk about how that forged a new identity in that person. And in that forging comes this incredible reservoir of resilience. Unfortunately, most of them don't realize it until they go through this process. And then they kind of come out of it just having a renewed sense of self-respect, I think, and a certain amount of pride for having gotten as far as they have in life, and recognition for why they do the things that they do. Why do they get out of bed every single morning, even when they're exhausted, when they're overworked, when they're burnt out, when they're frustrated, and maybe even when they're struggling physically? Why do they still do it? There's an internal passion that is driven by this idea of building resilience as a result of adversity that every single one of our leaders shares. And all the resilience why processes that we have gone through and all the discovery sessions, we have never once seen two resilience why statements the same. We've seen complementary ones, but we've never seen two that are the same. And I think that just goes to the uniqueness factor. God created us to be so unique. Every single one of us is unique. And our why is a unique way of capturing that purpose that we were created to fulfill. So when you get to the back of the magazine, you'll see that for each one of our leaders, that person's why statement is shared. And they went through quite the self-exploration journey to discover what that is. I hope you'll enjoy reading each one of their whys. My why is I challenge leaders to risk what's customary so that they can build something extraordinary. My job is to help them do it.